December 31st and January 1st, that's right, and January 1st, resuming to normal business on Monday the 4th. So again, offices will be closing today at 2 p.m. and will be closed for the holidays. So if you need to talk to somebody at the Creek Nation, you better do it fairly quickly. All right, now we have a couple of things we're going to end the year with. First of all, since we've had such a rough year, we kind of like to wrap things up with some laughter and love. So we're going to drop back into our archives. And let's see here. We will be... we got that. We will be sharing a thing from our language department. A couple of Gracine and Becky will be talking about the Mvskoke concept of love. And since we had a lot of fun with talking with the ladies of comedy, we got another segment from them coming up later on. So first of all, let's get rolling with the Native Language Department and the Mvskoke concept of love.
I appreciate y'all sitting down with me today and going over some terms of endearment.
Oh, by the way, that's Amanda Rutland.
Listeners know, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
My name is Gracine Hicks.
I'm Rebecca Barnett.
As we had mentioned a little bit earlier, you had said, traditionally, of course, we didn't celebrate Valentine's Day. Of course, we didn't call each other boo or maybe baby like people do now. Could you go into a little bit of those histories?
Well, I think our people way back in history, they were really private people, and it was, meant just for the two. But as the younger people started recognizing Valentine's Day, we probably didn't even know what Valentine's Day was for our elders back in history. But as the younger people started coming up and recognizing these days, we kind of took that as a holiday for love. And we don't really have terms of endearment, but we do have terms for, babies and stuff that we named out of, I guess you could say, love.
Mm-hmm. Now, you had mentioned, Gracine, that a lot of English concepts, European concepts, don't translate into Mvskoke.
Right. There's a lot of things that, they might call their baby cakes, or we don't have that. I mean, we can translate it, but it doesn't sound right when we translate it, But I know me and Becky was talking about a long time ago, like our parents we didn't see that as growing up. And I'm sure there was love and stuff, but we didn't see that. I think the younger generation is more now, because in my family, like she was saying, you name the babies, and it's what they're doing that you see, that's how you nickname your babies. And a long time ago, and I'm sure that was the same way. And I know there was love there, but it just wasn't really expressed, I guess, like we do now. Because now, I know a long time ago, my family, and I know my mom and dad loved me, and they would hug us and stuff. But me, I wanted my kids to feel that. So I'll hug them and say, I love you when they're leaving. But a long time ago, you didn't hardly see that. I mean, in our family, we didn't. And I know my mom loved us, but it just wasn't out there and things like that. But there is a lot of words like nicknames, like my nickname. My name is Gracine, but everybody knows me by Susie, and that was because I was named after my grandma's best friend. So, and my little brother, we call him Herbie, and his real name's Franklin. So things like that, I didn't really hear a lot of children that had Creek names till the younger generation. They want those names brought out. So
even me growing up, that's not something we particularly did, and I never knew how to say I love you in Mvskoke, because I know Dad loved us, but it's not something he particularly said. It's those actions and things. And we all had the Mvskoke names he had for us. I'm Kajo and my sister's Jody and things like that. And I knew when he didn't like someone because they didn't have a nickname.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't show affection around you. They didn't show that affection, but it was automatically like unconditional love. You know, it was just shown in different ways, like the food they cooked for you, the things they did for you. That was the show of affection.
It was more action than speaking.
Yeah, and they didn't really hug you. You know, your parents didn't really hug you. It was just understood that they had that love for you.
Mm-hmm.
It was just understood.
Mm-hmm. Now that's Anagichka, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have a few things prepared that you wanted to share?
We came up with some words for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
My husband calls it Stifigi Imganita. That's saying, I'm giving you my heart, translated in English. And Becky heard,
Sweetheart, Jafik Jamba Nita. That means Sweetheart Day.
I think I like those better than Valentine's Day anyway.
and then we came up with another one, Anogichka Nita, Love Day.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, some of these words that we came up were descriptive. They have to be descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
But like a baby, you know, we don't say baby, we call him BB. You know, so it's and some of it is for looks. You know, well, me and Susie went back into when we were younger, trying to, you know, what we used to say, you know. So
we used to hang around with each other when we were younger,
Mm-hmm.
and so she was teasing. She said, "Remember when we'd say, "Oi, he's semanachkostos." That means he's really handsome, you know." And we were teasing each other about that.
So it's just, you know, little things like that, like, you know, a pretty girl, you know, a man can see a pretty girl and they say, "Hilosit," or "Hilos," you know. That's probably about as far as you go get, but now we associated some of these words with Valentine's, like, you know, different little things that associated with it. That's what we went into too, so.
How would you even go in to say, I consider you my friend, or something like that, to express that to another person?
Jimidan hissi.
You could say,
Are you saying you're my best friend, or I want you to be my friend, or
Like telling that person, you are my close friend.
okay, you're my close friends. You could say, "Idin hissi tibuledzi dos." We're close. We're close friends. Tibuledzi means close, and idin hissi means we're the friends.
Could you say it one more time?
Idin hissi idibuledzi dos.
Okay.
you was asking about how you say I love you?
Mm-hmm.
Ijinogijes.
Ini
Ijinogijes.
ini jogijes.
Ijinogijes.
Eg no gi jes.
I love you.
Okay.
You're saying I love you there.
That makes sense, because it makes me think of when I was little and we used to sing Jesus Loves Me.
Mhm.
They see Jesus.
Ajanogijis.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I got tongue-tied this morning.
Ajanogijis.
Jano Gijis, yeah.
Mhm. Yep. So that really comes from that. And then we was teasing. I said, "Becky, what did you say about calling someone sweetheart?" And she said she used to hear her mama say Jafik Jumbi. And I hear that too, because I know when me and my husband first got together, he would tell his mom that he had Jafik Jumbi. I was like, what is that? You know. And then Becky was telling me, she said her mama was saying it was meant sweetheart.
Uh-huh.
So it was we kind of went back to the old time when we used to hear some of these things, and we were talking about how our parents didn't really say things like that, you know, but the younger generation is into, you know, like giving candy, flowers, cards.
Mm-hmm. Now, going back, and you were saying that, parents didn't necessarily say those things to one another, but could a husband have a familiarity for a wife? You know, might is there a term for wife that could encompass that? Or did they just call each other by name?
Think about that.
I think, like my dad's name was Yadika, but they just called him Bird. And I remember that's all my mom called him was Bird. And that was his last name. But that's all she called him. She didn't really call him by his first name. And like me, all I know was Hokti. And I mean, that's about as far as it got, as far as like, I think they just called each other by name, proper, proper names.
Because I never heard my dad or mom say honey or baby. I never heard that while I was growing up. And but I knew they loved each other because you know how sometimes you play with each other and kind of pat them on the back or something. I would see my dad do that to my mom, but not as far as names. He just called her by her name, and my mom called him by my dad's name.
I think back then when love was, when they went and got married, when they were married or they took each other as man and wife, it was understood that it was going to be forever and that love was there. It didn't have to be shown to public, or it was just a common understanding that when they went, and they stayed with their spouses forever too. So it was a common understanding that when they got married, it was for that forever and love. And and I never doubted my mom and dad's love for each other. I mean, I'm saying, it was just understood even for the family, even though affection wasn't showed. It was just understood.
I can see that. In some ways, I can see that maybe in modern society we need to go back to that.
Exactly. Because we don't see that anymore.
There's lots of over displays and oversharing of information.
Exactly. In public.
In public, whether you want to see it or not.
Yeah, there was like growing up, like Becky said, the meals that your mom prepared for you, that was saying I love you without saying it. And you understood that. And just like us, we grew up in church. So Mom would always say, you have to love everybody. Even though you have enemies, you have to love them. So that's, that was her way of telling us that, even though someone does you wrong, you love them. So, and I know you grew up like that too.
Yeah, we did.
That was the one thing she always said was, you have to love everybody, no matter what they do. And when, like Becky said, when they get married, and it was forever for them. The family was close back then, but now we're really losing that with our younger generation. And
I think that and more assimilating of European values and getting away from our Mvskoke ways. Because even when I was younger, extended family, our aunts, our uncles, our cousins, you may only see them, 2 or 3 times a year, but you still felt that love for one another and that closeness.
And then they had the right. My mom would always say, your aunt has a right to get on to you if she sees you doing something wrong. But nowadays, you can't really do that. If you try to get on to other people's children, even though they're your relatives, well, you're going to get that anger. And that wasn't like that back then.
Well, even correcting children is showing a form of love.
Yeah, it is. It is. So that's what my mom used to tell me. If somebody tells you something that's one day older than you, you listen because they're not doing it to hurt you. They're doing it because they love you. You had to be, there was a certain etiquette that the Creeks went by. I guess we went by it too, growing up,
But I think that goes back into a lot of us not really questioning why we do things. Yeah. We just do them because we know we're supposed to. Yeah. And in the end, it always comes out to the reasons we're good behind it. And getting away from it, we see what that causes when we don't listen.
And we never questioned. If they told us, don't do this, we never questioned it. But now I see my granddaughter, she'll say, why? Why can't I do that? But we never question things.
I used to get in so much trouble if I'd ask questions. Dad said, just 'cause.
Mm-hmm. My mom was, because I say so. Because I know me and Becky, yeah, her mama used to get on to us because me and Becky used to do things that, together. I guess we're not put that on the radio.
Well, we'll keep it a secret. We don't need to say what those things are.
But her mama got on to, when I was with Becky, her mama, and I didn't say,
you're not my mama.
You can't get on to me like that. That wasn't because she was, and that's what my mom said. Mm-hmm. When you go to her house, you do what she says because you're over there and under her roof, and she's, the oldest. So she tells you something, you believe it. You don't question her. Mm-hmm. So,
and even I've heard from several Mikos, a lot of the church concepts that we grew up with are the same as far as loving one another. If you have an odds against someone, you should go and fix it, and things like that.
Yeah, it was at the grounds they talk about love when they do the speaking, respect, and so does the churches. They it's. I think we grew up in a society of love.
I agree. I agree.
We was in a society. We were taught to love. As a Mvskoke people, we were taught. That's all we were taught, was to love. And I mean, that, like, she going back to the food subject. She said, and if any, if they, even if it was a homemade birthday cake, they would make it for you, and a dinner. It wasn't no fancy restaurant or a fancy cake, and you accepted that as that love, and you was really happy with it, which now I don't know if that's acceptable in our young people. I think they would feel hurt if nothing was done.
Yeah, I can kind of see that because they expect
Big
X
things.
amount of gifts and I didn't get what I wanted type thing.
Yeah.
But even looking back and some of the histories that I've learned about pre-removal and our communal society, that we made sure everyone was taken care of in a sense of love. And even when we were small and we would go to people's houses or they would come to ours, we would feed them no matter how little we had, we offered.
Right.
That's the way it was, and it was that community, and that goes back to that what she was talking about. When one person gave you advice, you took it, because it takes a community to raise a child, and that's where I see it now. I didn't before, when they said it takes a community to raise a child, but when we were told, listen to that person. If they're giving you advice, that goes back to that. It takes a community to raise a child.
Definitely. Are there any other aspects that y'all see where our concept of love as Mvskoke people differs from mainstream society today?
Yes. I think our younger people has started to become selfish, maybe, to a point. Because I know I have some kids, and they're I see a lot of selfishness. And it's not like the way we were raised, they used to tell us if somebody comes over, even if it's bread and water, you offer it.
Yes, definitely.
So they wouldn't be hungry. But now these young kids, it's like, to each his own, dog eat dog world. And I still talk to mine. You don't do that. Somebody comes over, you offer, even if it's just a glass of tea, offer it. It's a blessing. You're sharing your blessing. And, and that's what my mom used to tell me. If somebody offered you something, they're offering you what they were blessed with. So accept it.
And you can't refuse.
Yeah,
it's
don't
so
refuse.
rude.
Yeah, that was an insult to refuse something.
Yes.
Yeah, because they felt like you didn't want their food or drink or something. But she used to say, even if it's just to drink, take it, because they're offering the blessing they received. And that all goes back to love.
It does.
Yeah.
Community, family, all those things tied together. And even I see it tying into some of our values that we have about responsibility and some of these foundations that I think our young people definitely need to be fostered in. I'm trying to think of the ones they have at the college as far as respect, responsibility, hopothinga. Just trying to remember what that one was.
Wisdom.
Wisdom, yes, yes. You have anything to add, Gracie?
Well, like she was saying, a long time ago, they would leave food on the table because they would say, someone might come that's hungry. You know, and nowadays you don't see that. Or like if they're gonna, if it was time for them to eat, you know, they're not gonna eat till you leave. You see that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and a long time ago they didn't do that. I know my grandma didn't. She would make a big old crock pot of sofky, and she'd say, whoever is walking by, if they stop, she would offer that to them. But nowadays you see, you'll go, and if people were going to eat, they're going to not eat. They're going to wait till, you know, you leave. They don't say, can you sit down, you know, and eat with us. I see that a lot, you know. That's what me and Becky was talking about. And I remember they leave it on the table or put it in the where to be warm on the stove so that if somebody came, they would feed them. And nowadays, I don't think I've ever gone to someone's house and seen that done.
You do it at my house. We still do that. We
You
still,
don't.
you know, my mom used to say, don't throw out the leftovers, you know, which a lot of young people do because they don't like leftovers anyway. But she'll say, somebody might come over and they might be hungry. You know, and that's a love, you know, for somebody to, all this that we're talking about, it all goes back to that one word. I know Gitchka.
Which definitely I think people these days associate love with a romanticism.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily that. It's that brotherly love, that care for another human being.
Right. But
Right.
they look at it as, like you said, the other kind of love. But, well, you know, it says in the Bible that one day it'll be no love, you know. So, to me, that's kind of where we're headed at right now, because they say everything will be wax cold. And it's not like it was when we were growing up.
Nothing like it was when we were growing
It's so different now. It's just, it's kind of scary in a way. If we lose, you know, as Mvskoke people, if we lose that love for one another, what else are we going to lose? You know, what else is going to happen? We'll just be,
Like everyone else.
to me, we're taking more of the European way.
Assimilating just a little bit
Right.
more.
When we talk about love, because people say Valentine's Day's coming. What are you going to get? You know,
Yeah.
that's the first thing they ask. What is your husband going to get you, or what you going to get for Valentine's Day? You know.
Yeah. And even to me, that still seems foreign because I was like, well, I see you. I'm going to cook you dinner.
Right.
And that's a normal everyday thing, you know, but that we just didn't have Valentine's Day to show love for the Mvskokes. It was showed every day.
Not just one day
day,
out
yeah.
of the year. It was every day.
And just like Mother's Day, you know, I said, I'm a mother 365 days of the year.
Not just
what's Mother's Day?
Not just that one day, you know. Right, you know. That's how it was, but now.
It has to be shown now. It wasn't, I don't know, it's commercialized to where Valentine's Day is flowers and candy, but they don't really see the hidden part of everyday life that you're shown.
I think that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Good reminder. Do y'all have any more words or anything you want to share with our listeners that they may enjoy?
Well, we did candy, and we said nak jumba.
Nak jumba. Now, essentially breaking that down, what is that? Because jumba is sweet. Jumbi. What's nak?
Something
Something sweet.
Oh, okay.
sweet, yeah. Sweetheart, Jafik Jamba.
Let's see, flowers, bakbagoji.
Bak bokoji.
Bakbagoji.
And Sweetie, Jumbi.
And of course, you said love earlier, Anogichka.
Mm-hmm.
And we were playing with this one. Becky and I were Cuddle Bear. We said Nogozuji. But that was more descriptive, but we was playing around with some of the words that we had.
And we do that,
Mm-hmm.
when we're translating stuff. We have a good time translating.
Yeah. And I think even as far as love or care for someone, I see it a lot with teasing.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
tease each other as Muskogee people.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
do. We're very humorous people.
Yes, yes.
And we don't take offense when we're, it's teasing around.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get married. We got Edie Buckagie's.
Mm.
And I see a lot of people get married on Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm. That's what we were talking about. We were saying, I wonder how many people will get married on Valentine's Day. Because it seems like they do that every
or get
year.
engaged.
Mhm.
Mm. I've never paid attention to that. I'm gonna
Not
have to
so
look.
much as Muskogee people, but you see that,
yeah, others.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting married on Valentine's Day. I was going to tell you a funny story.
Okay.
This guy told me, he said, of course, he grew up where me and Becky grew up.
Uh-huh.
He married this girl from Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
He said he come home and he said the lights were off. And she had candles and everything. And he said she was trying to be romantic. And he said, and I grew up back in Hannah. I was like, did they cut our electric off? So I was saying, that's just because you grew up with, if the lights are off, that means electric didn't get paid. But he said she said, well, I was trying to be romantic. And he said, well, I was thinking the electric was off. So that kind of made me think about that, because he said she had done that for him for Valentine's Day.
Uh-huh.
And he wasn't used to that. So when she did that, it just kind of, he said, it scared me. He said, I thought, where am I going to go to get our electric turned back on? So, but that's what it made me think of when we were talking.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and even with me and her, we're not elders, but we're not young people either.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have that romance that some girls, the married couples want.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's kind of just understood with us too, and like him not knowing that she was being wanted
Wanted to be romantic.
Yeah.
Well, he was like, when I was growing up, the electric was cut off.
We don't understand that.
Well, that was kind of my first thought. I was like, did it go out? Was it cut off?
Yeah.
I think in that situation, I might be a little upset because I can't see my food.
Yeah, when it comes to food, you got to see it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's things have changed in our society, and even the language. We're from the language department, and our job is to save it, trying to. But when we see other things, we're losing the language, we're losing our culture, we lose our traditions. But there's one thing I hope we don't lose, and that's that respect and love that our people had coming from the Trail of Tears and brought it to Oklahoma. I hope that we don't ever lose that, because if we do, we're really going to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't agree more. And with that, I think that's a great thought to leave listeners with.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate both y'all ladies for meeting with me today. I've greatly enjoyed it. Mado.
And God, Mado to you.
I started doing it when I was 11. I wanted to be just like my big brother. And some of my friends were already doing it. We got hooked fast. I just can't get enough. I'm Jacob, and I'm addicted to playing the drums.
There's lots of stuff that makes it cool to be Native. Doing meth isn't one of them. Find something better to do. Check out ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Kick off the new year with a triple dose of the Tulsa Oilers at the BOK Center January 8th, 9th, and 10th. Come cheer on the Oilers as they face off against the Utah Grizzlies. Puck drops at 7:05 p.m. Friday and Saturday night and 4:05 p.m. Sunday. Buy tickets today by phone or text 918-632-7825 or online at TulsaOilers.com. Tulsa Oilers Hockey. Fun for the entire family. That's Tulsa Oilers Hockey at the BOK Center January 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Hear that? That's the sound of hope being killed by meth. Methamphetamine use is causing huge problems in our community. Hear that? That's the sound of something you can do about it. Events like rodeo, res ball, and family time can help keep kids away from meth.
Talk to your kids. Keep our culture alive. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Learn more at ncai.org.
We hope you are enjoying this little break from our usual programming here. A bit of a look into our archives there. Subject of love. Now, we had some fun the other week with talking with the four ladies of Native comedy. Two of them, at least, were in our area and came out of the health department function. But we decided we would put out the rest of some of the material we got from them and share it with you just to kind of brighten your day.
So I walked in the NAC one day and I was just minding my business walking around and my eye caught this poster. There was a man on this poster in the middle of it. And he had this faraway look like he was just too hot to look directly into the camera. And he was all sepia toned in that old-timey way. And he's just standing there strong and stoic with a buffalo on his chest. The wind was blowing. The planes were blowing around him. And I was like, oh, who is that? Who is that? I got all excited. I was like pulling people over that I was like, dude, you guys see this picture? And then something happened. So I was like really thinking hard and I started praying to the Creator. And I was like, Creator, just one, I just need one, just send him to me. I'll treat him real nice. And I was praying all hard for this man to come to me. And then I ended it, and I said, and let it be known, Creator, that I will throw it down every night. And I ended it with,
There's Indian cowboys and there's cowboy Indians, but there's, and you know the difference. So anyways, I never seen hippies before. I was in shock. I didn't, I had a culture shock, so I was in Durango staring at everyone just like, you don't wash your hair? Like all touching their dreadlocks? I know you're trying to save the environment, but you should wash your hair. I just got married. But it's not that serious, so if you guys... I'm just kidding, he's here. So. No, I did, and it was very special. We did it the traditional way. We did it the Native American traditional way of marriage. In other words, we had 2 kids first, and we waited for 5 years. Joke. 2 lovely boys.
I think my grandma brainwashed me to just love Native men. She did brainwash me. I'm sure your guys did too, just we're all on it. My grandma's got a little funny way of looking at the world. I remember when I was about 4, I asked her, Grandma, why do we eat wheat bread? She got all mad and she was like, 'cause white people eat white bread. I was 4, so that logic made sense. I was like, brown people eat brown things. I get it. I get it. I got no game. I just don't. The Creator blessed me with many things, beauty and talent, but no game. He said, she'll be all right. She'll be all right. So I have my shades on usually because I don't want to get caught. If I get caught, I don't know how to act. I have 2 modes that I do with my no game when I see a cute fellow, and it goes one or 2 ways. Either I get like stupid as they like me coming up and I just get all cheesy. Hi. And I got like 3 words that I say, and that's all I can say. It's like, whatever, stupid, and I'm like... They come up to me and they be like, hey, what's up? You look very pretty today. And I'm like, whatever. Stupid. It's really cute. Yeah, he's snagging a lot with that attitude. And the other one, I just get real mean because I know I get stupid and cheesy, and I'm like, all right, lock it up, girl, lock it up. So it comes out just. Start acting like I'm a fighter. I'm like, what? Be looking them all up and down, and like, this chick is crazy.
You know, as a Native woman, we don't throw things away, do we? We never do. Like our underwear, right? It's like, it still has good color. And you know, the stretch is out of it. We tie our elastic on the side. So we just wore it out, but we're not going to throw it away, right? And our bras too, right? We don't throw them away. They used to have lace cups. Now it looks like a spider web, right? Because they're so comfortable. And we put safety pins here. They used to have 4 clasps in the back. There's only 2 left. We don't care. That's our friend, right? How big, girls? Isn't it awful to break in a bra? Man, I'll be like this. I know my husband loves me because he's on the other end. We even have a special chair in our house that we wrap that thing around so it'll stretch out. And you men don't laugh either, man. I seen you in your underwear. You Native men with that, kind of have that stomach. And you got no butt because you're Indian, right? And these women were partying. You know, people, I've been sober 26 years. 26 years. You don't want to see me drunk either. God, I want to take your husband home or something, you know. Can't be trusted. Because right, all of us that partied, and I know some of you older people, you have histories. Didn't you always have a friend who was snag anything? Right? And she was embarrassing. God, there she goes again, embarrassing. Well, I was that friend, so. Well, anyway, these girls were going home, and they were drinking, and they were having a good time. And then one girl says, I gotta go to the bathroom, get off the road. There was nowhere to go. And the girl says, well, I'll go right here. There's a cemetery right here. And the other girl says, well, you know, do you have any tissue? And these were not Native women. Because Native women, we have tissue all the time, don't we? We sure do. It may be tissue. It might be a Jack-in-the-Box napkin, but we always have it. And then, man, when it's hard times, we got newspaper, and what do? Right? We soften that up. So the girl says, well, I don't have any. And she's like, well, what are you going to use? She goes, I'm just going to use my underwear. And the other lady says, oh, not me. I don't want to do that. So she takes a ribbon from one of the wreaths, And she uses that, and they get home. Thank goodness they get home, because they were partying really hard. They get home the next morning, the husbands are talking. One husband says to the other husband, says, you know what, we got to watch out for these women, because my old lady came home last night, and she didn't have any panties on. And the other guy says, that's nothing. He said, my old lady came home, she had a card stuck to her butt that said, we will never forget you. Yeah.
So today was a long day, right, girls? So I had to get up I was supposed to be there at 8 o'clock, and I'll be real, last night I went out and danced at Bucks till 1 a.m., even though the bride told me to stay in, because I would be tired, and she's right, I drank a rock star. So anyways, when she asked me to become a bridesmaid, I was like, yeah, I'll become a bridesmaid. Yeah, that'll be fun. Dress up and stuff. What I didn't know is we had to pay for it. So anyways, I'm the little get a shot at the single mom I am. I had to scramble some money together, and me, I like to powwow and didn't get in at Mandarin, so I was scraping. I was trying to see how much EBT I had, and trying to give people halfsies so I could get my nails done with the girls. That didn't work out. I ended up doing them by myself for free. And then I guess I was 10th runner-up for maid of honor. You know, that's why I'm sitting at the end of the table over there, eating my salad. I got the driest salad over there. And then my kids are running around barefoot like their mom. For those of you who are parents, you know what I mean. They act up when they get in Walmart. Oh man, you know, they're throwing themselves on the ground, and you can't be ready in there. You can't be ready in Walmart, because if you be ready, you'll be going out like this. Hey. There's an Indian girl at Walmart. Just see her, she was going off on her kid. You know, they hung tight her. She was getting carried out like that. So you can't act like that. You gotta be like, get up. Quit acting like that. Baby, quit acting like that. 2, 3, come on. No. Alright, then I'm gonna leave you. Oh, I can't leave you. Just come on. What you looking at, blue eye? Mind your business. Hurry up now. Come on, get up. Just get up. Come on. So you walk to the car. You walk to the car with your kids all fast. You're mad. You know. Get in the car. As soon as you get in the car, what the hell are you thinking? Just embarrassing me. I always try to tell you that. Don't do that. No chips, no pie, no candy, no nothing. No.
Okay, the ladies of Native Comedy. Production on that one was kind of tough, but we worked on it as best we could and tried to make things happen. We are going to continue our look into the entertainment field. Next piece we're going to share is a guy named Jared Tate, who was a Chickasaw man, musical conductor, and worked on several major motion pictures, including the ones that kind of make us mad sometime, like Peter Pan, Pocahontas. I don't know if he worked on Pocahontas, but that one can make you mad. Anyway, here's a sample of Jared Tate.
My name is Jared Tate, and I'm one of the consulting producers for Peter Pan Live on NBC.
And I understand you're from the Chickasaw Nation?
I am Chickasaw, yes, sir.
Okay, and there was a rather complicated, it looks like a tribal name there.
Oh, yeah, that's my house name. My full name is Jared Impachachaha Tate, and Impachachaha is our house name that means high corn crib, and it refers to the corn silos that we used to store vegetables in, back in the day that all Southeast Indians did. So it's a very Muskogean type of cultural thing. But Impichachaha means high corn crib.
Okay, well, thank you there. I looked at it and said, I don't think I'll take a stab at it.
That's a fine.
Yeah, I'm Muskogee, and we've got a bit of a complication occasionally, but that one caught me. Now, we are part of the team that have brought some changes to what has become a children's classic. I think we're all aware of various incarnations of the Peter Pan tale and some of the music and imagery that goes along with it that portrays our people in particular, the American Indians. And first of all, let's talk about, I guess, a starting point about what you saw there and what you were working on trying to evolve into a more intelligent presentation there.
Yes. Well, I know I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this. This version of Peter Pan is literally a reboot. It's almost like Peter Pan 2.0, basically. And it's the entire musical has been given a facelift. And the one thing that's really good about this is that the composers' families have given their blessings to this endeavor that an NBC has undertaken. They've added songs. They've changed orchestrations to make them more full, and they've just kind of made some improvements on that. And of course, naturally, as part of all of the issues that they were addressing, they really felt the need to address the number that was originally entitled Ugawug. And this is the scene in which Peter Pan and the fictitious Indian princess Tiger Lily have a pact between each other because they are about to actually attack Captain Hook. So they bond together and they basically make like a pact with each other. And so in that effort, they choose a word, a call out, in case there is danger or there is trouble. Now, of course, the word originally was Ugawug. They would say Ugawug to each other, and that's the word that has created so much, controversy and misinformation, that kind of thing. And of course, remember that Peter Pan was created by a Scotsman novelist who had very little correct information about American Indian tribes, and so this was based in his uninformed fantasy. However, that musical number has that word Ugawug, but it also has a whole bunch of kind of gibberish words that are supposed to be, American Indian-like or something like that. It's basically somebody else's perception of an American Indian language, and it's really just gibberish.
Let me ask you here, first of all, when was this thing written, and do you think it reflects the times then at that point?
Of course it is. I mean, all art is a reflection of the times. The original premiere of the musical Peter Pan, I believe, was in 1953. However, the cartoon by Disney was before that. I don't remember the exact year that the cartoon was premiered, but the cartoon itself had a number that was even worse, called "What Makes the Red Man Red," and that's a pretty horrible little number, and of course nobody really addresses that. Even in 1953, when they made the musical Peter Pan, they had the sense not to include that particular number as well. So there's always been some kind of a subconscious, I guess, awareness of the fact that this is not authentic Indian representation.
I remember hearing that song when I was a child, and I guess that was a Mary Martin version of the production, and was, as a child I didn't really know what was going on or anything, but that never quite set easily with me, and I didn't know what I was dealing with then. But
it makes everybody raise their eyebrows. That's for sure.
yeah, and of course the little primitive chanting that goes along with it, and the stereotypical tom-tom beat. Did you have any discussions about these kind of issues with the producers of this newest version?
Yes.
What was the I guess what transpired there?
Well, in fact, that's exactly why I was contacted and why I was hired as a consultant, is because they genuinely wanted to address this and figure out a way to adjust the musical numbers that could be more authentic. And so that was my job, was to help bring authenticity to those existing numbers. And so, first of all, obviously, we had to just get rid of Ugga Wugg. That had to just go. And so, but in place of that, we all agreed that it would be nice to have an actual American Indian word that was authentic. And so, my understanding of that fictitious tribe is that it was based on perceptions of Northeast American Indians in the United States. And so we're talking like the Huron culture, and so the Wyandot language is what I focused on. And in fact, the music director of this particular production is Wyandot himself. So it was kind of serendipitous. It was just kind of a chance that it just kind of worked out that way. But so what I did is I did research on the Wyandot language to find a replacement word for Ugga Wugg, and that word is Oahe. I can spell that for you here later as we talk. But the word Oahe in the Wyandot language means come here. So it's a call for somebody to come here. So it was a perfect replacement. And also rhythmically, it fit the same music, because the music says Ugga Wugg, Ugga Wugg, Ugga Wugg, Ugga Wugg. And so when you replace that with the Wyandot word Oahe, 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 it totally fits rhythmically, and it's total correct language.
Right, and it's phonetically a little easier to deal with.
Actually, it is. Actually, it's easier to sing, which is really wonderful. So, honestly, I just thought everything worked out so beautifully. Now, there's another aspect to that's very important that I recognize, is that throughout the music, there's also more gibberish, is what I call it, that the original composers had created that sounded like their stereotypical versions of Indian language, that kind of thing. And so what happened was the music director and the lyricist, Amanda Green, replaced all of that embarrassing gibberish with actual European nursery rhymes.
Okay, that was Jared Tate talking about the changes they brought to Peter Pan Live. I don't know if any of you remember that production, but it was there, and we thought we'd take a look at it. Now, some people have asked me about our theme song. This is a piece called Jealousy by a Micmac man from, actually from Alaska, believe it or not, a guy named Paul Pike. So in response, I always kind of like this tune, so let's go ahead and share it with you. And we're going to wrap it up for 2020. Jealousy by Paul Pike, Micmac Man. We thought we'd play the whole thing for you just to let you know how it comes out. I really like that song. As one of my colleagues here, Kelly Love, said, it's very comfortable. It makes you feel like you're home and things like that. We got a couple of things to share, and then we're going to get out of your way quickly again. The Mvskoke Creek Nation offices will close at 2 p.m. today for the New Year's holiday. This will enable our folks to travel to their destination safely. And all offices will be closed on the 31st and January 1st, 2021, resuming to normal business on Monday, January the 4th. So thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Mabo Hedgetscut, Mado. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.